have played well in team fights, it's definitely strong. And I feel like this is a much better compromise style of draft from Damwon Kia than the one we saw in Game 1. Because, yeah, you still have the strong top side Sion, but you have Lilia for setting up team fights, but you're not only reliant on that plus Zoe sleeps. If you're going to have a mid laner that's AP instead of looking for that AD prio I was talking about before, the Victor is going to give you more consistent damage. You still have that strong engage tool. You have multiple engage tools, from the cask to the charge to, you know, Lilia's sleep. So Gen G, this composition, they have the ability to snowball things very early. But if they don't, I mean, they're going to have to rely on their scaling rather than engage, because Emperor's Divide is going to be tough to pull off against this composition. But you have a Jinx that scales. You have the Azir damage that's going to scale, even with the W nerf. So it's really about how this game shakes out in the early game, who gets an advantage, because neither team inherently has like the stronger late game period. They just have different late games.
And BDD does like to play more of the I'm going to Emperor's Divide my way to winning a team fight style. He likes to build double masks, things like that, not wanting to go for more of the, you know, the Conqueror style that we saw Chovy going for. So I guess he doesn't really feel that nerf quite as much in a team fight setting. It will, of course, affect
the lane,
how BDD is going to go in the laning phase. But against Victor, I don't think you're going to be too worried in the early game anyway. So very interested to seeing how this one is going to go. But
those are my
there's
favorite
still like,
skin.
yeah, it's real good. I remember when that one came out. As I think the biggest problem is still the fact that Ruler and Life exist on Jinx and Thresh, and there is such an easy way for Damwon Kia to have just denied that one completely.
Yeah, that's a bit of a puzzler for sure.
Oh, we're going for the Sion cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, this is cool. We haven't seen this for a while.
It was checked for in the last game, but they don't actually commit this time. A little bit riskier with this composition to check for that, but because they don't check, guess what? It's not going to amount to anything. So.
Yep. I like going for it though. I think it's a fun idea. As Khan gets back at exactly the right time, we'll just walk up with his minions and get towards this lane. And it looks like Ghost and Beryl are going to help out with a bit of a leash, as now Showmaker just gives a bit of a thumbs up there with his Teemo, spots out that this ward is here.
Yep, thanks for the extra information. So the ward not going to be very valuable. So pulling a ward out of somebody's pocket, I think it was BDD's.
Yep.
And you know, this is a matchup too where Showmaker can really change how this lane goes based on whether he's trying to play aggressively with Canyon or if he just wants to play slow and sit back and farm. Because you can, you know, Canyon can threaten a lot of kills, can actually counter gank mid as well, especially around level 6 when you do see that Emperor's Divide get hit. I mean, I always talk about this timing. It's like the new Wolf turret plates kind of thing.
Yep.
But it's every single game that Azir is in, you usually see this. So, you know, if Showmaker is playing aggressive, sometimes you can actually trade that back, bait those fights in your favor. I'm excited to see how this goes because BDD is such an iconic Azir player, one of the newer, you know, legendary Azir players. And he had a really rough time against Faker in that T1 series, so...
He did. He needs a redemption arc on this particular pick. You're exactly right. It's one of the reasons why, as level 2 is hit on the bottom side of the map. The LCK total throughout the years, it's not necessarily looking in favor of good old Cho'Gath, but you know, it's a bit of a wet noodle fight. And I think when it comes to tank matchups on the top side of the map, it's about how they're utilized based on the rest of the comp rather than just the pure lane matchup.
There's a lot of ways to set up, you know, with Thresh's box, the Emperor's Divide into, you know, some of those follow-up stuns. Nice counterplay here from Beryl. We'll dash away.
Yep. As Ghost just takes a bit of free damage there as the rockets are starting to rain true. But it looks like Damwon Kia are going to be pretty happy just to clear up these minions underneath the turret. Ghost doing a decent job of that. He's just going to Cathian rain away most of them. Misses that, but should be able to grab these two if the minions are kind. Instead, he looks for some damage onto Ruler and misses both of them. Unfortunate.
Look at where the mid lane is right now. Showmaker has played pretty far back, has kind of, you know, pushed BDD into these trades low on mana, and with this scuttle being taken top side, there's a pretty good chance that, you know, if he continues to put this much pressure on, like, he could be punished actually by Canyon. This is something I was talking about earlier with how Showmaker stylistically plays this matchup.
Wow.
Can put BDD in danger, but he's not going to get any help. And yeah, the matchup definitely favoring the Azir.
And I think it's BitDoll that's actually on the analyst desk today. Would have liked it if it was Kuro, because I feel like Kuro versus Faker is like almost half of those Azir versus Victor matchups. It's one of these matchups that has certainly evolved over time. But the laning phase, once again, not exactly the main thing there, as this ward not going to be taken down. And Ruler not going to go for a cheater, as we could see. He was trying to. Does have a quite significant lead right now, but there are more minions for Ghost to pick up here as he misses one of those casters.
Well, the, jungle right now fairly stable between these two. Obviously very quick farming junglers. And neither have made a pass at the mid lane. Because Rascal's going to hit this and Khan's is going to be like, this is frustrating. Very boring up here. Very much a pretty quiet early game here. Really quieter than it necessarily had to be, but this is a really stressful series. Just to remind everyone of the stakes here. For Dom1, it's about their insane win streak.
Yeah.
For Gen G, it's about getting second place. Here we go. Here's some action. All I had to do was say there wasn't any.
And for Rascal, it's about staying alive, and he's not going to. Yep, he has Flash available, but he's not going to use it because he's well and truly dead. And First Blood goes over to Canyon. And last time, it took him about 25 minutes to get a kill. This time, it's only taken him 5.
Yep. This is going to be a really great start.
Taxes the lane as well. Damn. That's aggressive. As Khan is going to say no to Rascal there. He can teleport back to his lane as well. And actually, that's pretty relevant, as all of those minions also did a bit of damage there to Rascal as he comes in.
That's what you do. You get a little bit of extra minion damage done. You get the free back, and no one can harass you. And it's feeling good.
Live just freezing out this lane. And looks like Ghost is going to go for a bit of a back here.
Lid is interested in making something happen, but it's just not going to work out with the lane freeze like this. Looks like he wanted to maybe come over there and...
Yeah, actually both of our AD carries taking this opportunity. I really do like that.
This is
a bit of the mind games.
This is what I'm talking about, the Cell 6, and Showmaker has just shown so much respect.
Yeah.
Like, this is something that I feel like Azir has gotten less and less successful in the LCK because people just go, oh, he's about to have 6, especially in unfavorable matchups like this where you're kind of getting owned in lane. You're just okay with giving him an extra wave of CS and losing some minions because you don't want to lose your flash if you can't help it. I mean, he does have to use it in this case, but if you die, it's disastrous and you end up getting further behind. So many Seraphines, Victors now playing this matchup so much more safe around 6. And Showmaker, he loses Flash, and that's quite significant, but he's showing a lot of respect once again. Yeah. Especially because they know Udyr was nearby.
But not going to be able to find it, like you were talking about. Chaos Storm is available here for Showmaker as well, so he could possibly use that to try and wrestle some control back to the lane if he wants to. I think Victors that play around using their ultimate to kill minions in order to get lane priority on a whim is actually one of his strengths.
Yeah.
But as you can see, just going to go back to base, look for a bit of a recall timing as Verdant Barrier has been completed, and will certainly help out, what with the fact that, Phoenix Dance, that's magic, as well as all of BDD, so high value pickup there.
I think the most tense part of this game so far is for the Western fans starting to wonder if it could be a Cloud Soul this game,
Oh god, yeah, no, you're right. Still, the first one's going to be the Mountain, but if it's that Cloud, that's when we are going to be grinning.
It's with the lack of action, like there's a long time before we're going to find out, too. We've got another 10 minutes on our hands.
I'm frightened.
Tension building.
Throwing some rockets here towards Beryl, who's once again a Fnatic fan. I like it.
Aren't we all? Truly, deep inside.
I'm a Sushi fan, 100%.
Well, again, the back comes through for Showmaker. And, it's just not a whole lot of action in this game. It's a bit of farming going on between the junglers.
Yep.
One little attempt we saw from Lily on the top side successful. Glid helps get a flash in mid. Otherwise, we are just splitting the map up. And finally, with this extra lane priority, it looks like we are maybe going to see Gen G try to take this Drake. And immediately the response for Dom1 Kia is to start Rift Herald. They actually don't know the Drake isn't being taken, so this could actually work out really well for Gen G.
Well, we'll see whether Life can actually make something happen here. As you can see, Showmaker just trying to bully BDD away from this area. Looks like Herald should be taken here. I think is actually very important for Dom1, because last time when they got Herald and they managed to accelerate Jinx even further with it, that was where things got really scary. So this time, Dom1 Kia are going to be able to take the eye, without too much of a response, but Beryl, unfortunately, just going to throw his life away here. Doesn't find the body slam, and this is game 1, Beryl back again.
Yeah, and this should be a potential Drake as well for Gen G, because they get this pick. They could rotate over and get it. Ruler has lane priority. He's going to get another plate here. Yeah. I mean, Damwon Kia had 4 control wards on that Rift Herald. Like, they absolutely wanted it. They had a feeling, you know, based on the lack of vision, that there was, okay, hold that thought.
Oh dear, Gravity Field does some work, but the hook is going to connect as well, and Showmaker not going to be able to trade back anything on this one as Canyon comes on over, looking to try and put the Udyr asleep as BDD comes in, doesn't pull the trigger, as the bowling ball connects, but only lands onto life. As Beryl turns up in the mid lane to try and help out, but he's not going to be able to.
And this is so good for BDD. I mean, he didn't get either of the kills that he has now, but he has 2 assists of extra gold. There's going to be in firm control over this lane. And that's what happens. You just always, if you have set up for that timing with Emperor's Divide, you can always threaten the control mages as Train arrives at the station, because you have the flash gone from the last exchange.
Yeah, it was just a great follow-up gank. Really, really well done.
Look at this, 4 control wards around this pit.
Beryl.
And Beryl is unfortunately just trying to set up for a play here and cut this team in half, but the reality is they already were successful. As Udyr's son sets it up, don't even need the Emperor's Divide to secure this kill.
Yeah, which is why then BDD is there to threaten. I don't even know whether that flash was necessary, because if BDD's coming in, right, he does have the Emperor's Divide, so he can stop Lilia from being able to do anything. She does have a slight advantage when it comes to farm, but extra assist over to Clid will mean that that matchup is very even.
This is really going to be Showmaker hitting that later game spike a lot slower, though, because of these exchanges, right? End up losing a lot of farm. He's 20 CS down now, in fact, which is how this happens. Canyon wants to further this top lead.
Yep, Canyon gonna pick up a bit of turret aggro as Shelly just bonks her noggin into this one. Not sure whether they're gonna be able to take down this turret just yet, as Rascal's just trying to be a bully. Get them out of the way here.
So unfortunate for Canyon and Khan. Like, everything just going a little bit slightly wrong. Canyon almost has his sleep. The turret's almost down. Bowling ball does connect this time.
Yeah, no one's coming to save him here as Canyon's going to have to flash. The feast goes off. Unfortunately, not quite enough there as Rascal's still going to flash. And this turret is going to survive for a little bit longer.
If Gen G wins this game, I'm doing a write-in vote on player of the game for that turret in the top side. That was actually insane. As here we go again.
Yep, Emperor's Divide's going to pick up Showmaker once again. They just collect his flash and send him on his way.
Yep. As it turns out, Emperor's Divide on a significantly lower cooldown. So
I wonder if that was making up the slight bug fix as well, as when you have the player behind you.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird with the Emperor's Divide, but I actually think that BDD uses his muscle memory, knows exactly the ranges. He's pretty good at this old Azir, so
yeah,
collects it pretty nicely.
Some small errors in his last few series on the Azir, but
yeah,
this game so far has been really good. As we're just going to watch, again, this turret that has about 3% or less health just be so valuable. As Canyon actually gets the turret aggroed perfectly, but there's no follow-up damage, and Rascal has the flash there. If he gets hit by that, then it's over, but so well handled.
I don't know, man. Like, if they wait for the minions to actually get into turret range or force Rascal to tank it, then maybe that goes very differently. Looked a little bit like impatience there from Canyon as Clid now looking for the train, but oh, the drifting. Just
beautiful.
Amazing. Fast and the Furious here. If Khan gets himself out.
Yeah, if you have sleep too when that starts, as Canyon was on about 20 seconds cooldown for that when they first started the exchange, then you can definitely secure that kill. But
yeah.
Like, everything was going wrong. The minions stay, the sleep, cooldown, and how they engaged there the second time on the turret. Even though it was really well handled by Canyon there, Rascal had his flash. Gen G sitting with a significant lead, but it's not a massive lead in this game by any means, though.
Nope. And I think a lot of this is going to be decided once we get towards more of these team fights to see who is going to be able to get into position. Now with the Gragas, assuming that Beryl can get himself together and lock this one down, like, he's your answer to, something like the Flame Chompers and the Flay and the Lantern coming out, right? If you, like, smack them away from all of their setup, yeah, that's when it becomes very, very powerful, and then you can follow up engage, utilizing things like your sleep and your unstoppable onslaught. As Khan is going to go back home and then teleport immediately back in.
Yeah,
Doesn't want to miss out on too much of this, just uses that as a bit of a health top-up.
It's a lot of free gold over to Ruler once again.
Yeah.
He's getting away with these plates. Like, it feels like all 3 games, he's had a great time at this. The first and third, of course, the better ones, but you could see...
I love this, though. As you could see, Ghost goes up top lane, gets first turret blood as well as the last plate, and he's within 100 gold now of the Jinx, which is actually crazy, given the fact that you can see the CS gap between these 2 players, the fact that the Jinx has managed to get 3 plates already in that lane. I think it's a really cool idea that Damwon had there, just to try and funnel as much gold back into Ghost to allow him to hit some of his spikes as well.
Ruler now going to be very careful. Show some respect here, clears that ward. Could have seen a cask committed there.
Ooh, Ghost actually snagged by the zap, as Ruler will be able to throw in just a little bit of love tap there. No follow-up though, as cleared in the area, just clearing out a control ward. And Beryl just throws the trophy on the ground. Looks to try and stop them from making their way in.
Like you said, a lot of these upcoming fights, these objective fights, are really going to be based on how the comps are executed, because it's not like an item advantage. Oh, this is a nice delay.
Yeah.
It's not like an item advantage that's going to exist in this game that means that things are going to go terribly wrong for either team, but Gen.G do have a composition that's scaling faster right now in this game, albeit, as you mentioned, the bottom side only a little bit, and you know, BDD didn't get those 2 kills, he has 2 assists, but a little bit accelerated towards how their comp is going to scale in the later parts of the game. But there's that same trade-off that we've had several times already today with the Udyr versus Lilia, where the Lilia is going to be so much more impactful in terms of her damage and her lockdown in the fights than an Udyr, who's going to be much more about vision control. And speaking of which, you know, right now Damwon Kia have full vision control over the Drake. There's no unknowns there, and Udyr, unfortunately, because of this case, hasn't been able to get over there and clear that safely.
Not just yet. I think they just went for some recalls. Just then, Leandres was picked up by Canyon, so he's feeling a little bit better here about this situation. But Beryl has just been manning this river quite nicely, making sure that he can keep his control ward safe. Hook is going to go just barely wide as Rascal gets into this pixel brush. It looks like Damwon Kia have their eyes on this Drake. Bowling ball connects onto life.
Rift Scuttle is so important here for Damwon Kia. It gives them so much information about whether Gen.G are flanking or if they're actually continuing to push onto this Drake itself. So they have this information, they back away. And, you know, right now, the only thing they have going for them is like a Kai'Sa on the flank. So difficult to pull that off.
Yeah, if Khan can get a decent drift in, though, as there's the Void Seeker. They spot out exactly where Ruler is. And I think, like, if we do get into a fight that is going to break out, eyes need to be on Beryl. How much can he disrupt this? How much can he stop Life from having that value with his Lantern? Because this is the change between the comp. Is, yeah, BDD off towards the side. Khan is going to pick him up. And now it feels like Damwon Kia can just lock this one down. But Klid's going to make it a 50-50. It's not going to be the case, as there's the cars. And now Damwon Kia are going to back away. I think that's a really smart idea. Cloud Soul, I apologize. I definitely cursed that during the last game.
Told you the fans should be worried.
Yep, and they certainly are. But I do like it. You know, Cask is on cooldown. Now it's outside of Damwon's control as to what Ruler's going to be able to get done. And so you back away, you don't try and force the issue.
BDD just, you know, having that aggressive flank angle, gets spotted, and then he's pushed away. And from that moment on, Damwon Kia are like, well, you can't fight us without this. That's a huge part of your damage, as well as your ability to engage or disengage when we come in and try to set up for those fights. You know, Khan comes through and you don't have the Azir there, you're going to have a really hard time winning that fight. It's almost impossible. So that's when Damwon Kia decided to push the go button and go onto the Drake. They clear it so quickly. And for Gen.G right now, this is a fight that you felt like you were kind of set up to win no matter what. I mean, you had positional advantage. There was a while where you didn't have vision control, but you were able to clear that too. The scuttle went down, and yet you still just weren't able to secure it because BDD was off to the side there, zoned out.
Well, Beryl does know, I believe, that Shirley is being taken. Void Seeker going to pop the Guardian there onto life as a teleport in. This is Gen.G desperately wanting to lock this one down. Should be able to do so. Flame Chompers coming on in. They ignore the gravity field as that's a great hook to come out from live. As it's Showmaker that's being shot closed in on. No Chomp actually. Oh no, Russell did in fact use it. As he's going to have to flash out now as BDD. Emperor's Divide flashed from everyone as Beryl trying to get back forward. Ghost not wanting any part of this though, as now Beryl, they're chasing him down. Life in a bit of trouble, and he's baiting beautifully with his stopwatch. Ghost will survive. The rupture into a hook combo looked like it could have been beautiful, but it does get a flash. Still worth, you'd probably say, is Gen G. Damn,
G and that was really nice spot.
That was real clean.
That was super clean, and the first hook into rupture combo is what starts it all off. And then from that point on, Damwon Kia are in a position where you have to make the hard choice. Do you just walk away from this and give it up straight up, or do you continue to fight in? They decided to stay, and then BDD had a really nice shuffle into his Emperor's Divide. And from that point on, they do try to retreat, but it's too late, and it's against an Udyr, and that's when Udyr is going to get the most amount of value, is just preventing those retreats. And he does, just go straight into bear form and chase him down. So watch the start of this fight. I mean, it couldn't be better here, with Life getting the perfect hook here.
Oh, barrel.
It's not on the barrel either.
The slight sidestep to throw his Victor into the bin.
And that's it. I mean, Victor is out of this fight. They end up getting a two-man sleep, which forces Rascal to flash away, but the Shurima Shuffle gets another flash out of barrel, and now it's like, well, we can't win this anymore. We don't have enough damage, and the Udyr is on the chase. Barrel is going to, go down here. Not much else you can hope for from this stage. It was a cool idea to try to flash for that one, but not going to happen. Life.
Yep.
And this is just Gen G, once again, really showcasing how well they understand this composition. And it feels like Cho'Gath might have been should have been on our radar a little bit more with watching how this actually works out. Feels like a pretty consistent combo.
Yeah, likely should have been on Damwon Kia's radar a little bit more as well, because you have to remember this Scion was picked into it. And after that Game 1 performance, yes, the Scion came out on top in Game number 2, but I don't think that matchup had anything really to do with it. And now, pairing it with the Jinx that has so much more control of how a game is going to go in the later stages with her positioning, and the fact that you're not going to be threatened quite as much, as another beautiful drift to come through here from Khan. Decides instead that the Uri Bank wants to be smacked into.
And if we go back to the draft too, remember that Showmaker didn't necessarily have to play this Victor. He could have played the Lucian or the Tristana and had a little bit more control.
I would have loved the Lucian in this game.
Yeah, he would have had a lot more control over the mid lane. And then suddenly Barrow can also play Gragas top, because the damage profile you pointed out in the draft, it's like, well, it's kind of impossible, which I think kind of pigeonholed them into playing the Scion at the end of the day into a blind Cho'Gath, right? Which Gen G was probably like, well, I think we have to do this because they'll probably play it. And Damwon Kia didn't, do anything about it. They just played it anyways. And I mean, the draft here, I don't want to say Damwon Kia got out-drafted for sure, but I think they forced win conditions in their draft that are so difficult to execute against what Gen G are running right now when they gave up the Thresh. And this is something we don't really say that much about Damwon Kia, as their draft didn't work out.
Yeah.
And this is something that we could say twice, I think, in this series. Nice steal.
I take it all back. Damwon Kia are going to win that Gromp. The Gromp power going over to Khan. Collected. Very nicely done. So it is still, 3,000 gold. That's not much of a difference. Actually, it's just a little bit shy of that for Gen G. But we've stated just how confident Gen G probably are in how this composition is going to run in the later stage of the game. And range has ruled the world for this series so far. It's what we were talking about already. I think that Damwon Kia sort of ran face first once again into this Jinx Thresh, and empowering Ruler is so dangerous. I don't know. We'll have to see whether Damwon Kia can get these fights working out in their favor.
And this is also a reliance on the Kai'Sa pick for Damwon Kia too that, is probably why we got here in the first place. I mean, they could have picked the Thresh away. They had so many different options they could have taken. I mean, you were calling for it in the draft, and this Kai'Sa pick is really hard to execute into what Gen G is running. With most Scion comps, you get a free frontline control, so you're just like, oh, well, I can Killer Instinct in, and there's nothing they can do. Khan will be able to stop anyone who tries to collapse on. But in this particular case,
he's a big boy.
Big boy, big chomps. But in this particular case, if you try to Killer Instinct in, there's so many threats. There's so many ways you can get blown up. I mean, you could get hooked, you could get flayed. I mean, there's an Udyr who's there to help lock you down. So you almost never get to play the Kai'Sa the way you want to against what Gen G are running. It's a draft, again, it's still strong for Damwon Kia, and it's very good for their players in particular. Comfort-wise, again, I can't overstate 18 games of Kai'Sa to the 4 of his next champion, the Xayah, which isn't even meta anymore. Like, this guy only plays Kai'Sa, and
And look, it does work out really well if you can get to the stage where you're able to get those picks, right? And with Beryl on the Gragas, like, especially last week, he was so good at orchestrating all of those moments. Because now he's looking to try and do it once again, but Ghost is going to get zapped out of here. And yeah, just not a lot of these opportunities that Damwon Kia normally make a game about, and that's because most of the time they have advantages around the map. They have control. And this time, Gen G have been so good at getting a stranglehold on this map and holding onto it.
Yeah, they really have. And that's even with, you know, Damwon Kia spending a lot of money on control wards across the board to try to keep that vision against the Udyr, because, you know, he has to commit. I mean, it's still quick, the clear he has, but it's a little bit longer. I mean, you can see all the control wards on the map right now. They're trying to fight for vision so hard, but they just can't maintain it against this Udyr pick. And if you try to go over and clear against him, he can lock you down, and then Gen G has so much lockdown. So, I mean, the people who can clear on this map for Damwon Kia consistently are Canyon and Beryl, right? And that's just, they're on two champions that if they get caught, there's no recourse, there's no real way out. So
yeah,
that's what Azir's, or not Azir, excuse me, the Udyr, his power can be. When you're ahead like this, he becomes so much easier to control the map with. Even when you're behind, he's good, but when you're ahead, it's like, how can you ever have vision advantage against Gen G here?
It's very hard. That's why we call him this walking ward, you know?
Yeah.
He gets around and makes sure that you can control.
He has almost double the vision score of Canyon this game, you know? And it's not because Canyon is just not, he's being lazy. He just can't. He just physically can't.
And he's been busy getting 50 more camps ahead of him.
Yeah.
But I just don't know whether that's been worth it, right? Because he got that first blood, and then what has happened? Like, not a whole lot. It's a very different story to his Hecarim that really did just dominate the entire game by himself. As Khan, he's continuing to shove here on the bottom side. The split-pushing Scion getting some work done.
Yeah, I mean, Damwon Kia just seems like they always end up getting away with having two solo laners.
This is so sneaky. Oh, it's adorable. Actually just waits until Rascal's out towards the side and...
Can he steal it?
Okay. Oh, he can eat it! And he does so. I think Gentleman Cho'Gath is probably a better skin, but this one's cool too. Especially because we're in the Korean client, and so not being able to get the up you go makes me a little bit sad. So this is okay.
Yeah, I think that's a fair like.
Did I say that? I said I meant to say Cho'Gath. I don't know whether I said the right.
I think you said Cho'Gath, yeah.
They're both just beefy tanks, so just maybe I got it wrong. But it's just a lot of metal there on the bottom side with these particular skin choices, as you can see.
I mean, Khan always picks this skin. It's my favorite skin.
Pacific Rim?
Yeah, it's like way cooler to actually be a transformer when you and then become a train and then like, he's like, I'm really angry. I'm running real fast at you. Yeah, that's not as cool at all. I would actually petition that Scions just be changed into a mecha champion. Like they should just change his lore.
Yeah.
Like this should be his default skin. Like how
Swain actually built him in a workshop and not in like his dungeon or whatever he did.
Like, actually, Swain is a scientist in, like, a Japanese anime somewhere.
he's a mechanic, though. He's not actually, like, a mad scientist. He's a mad mechanic, building heaps of cool stuff out of, like, robot parts.
He's like Commander Ikari in Evangelion. Well, I mean, Atlas, this game is definitely opened up a little bit for Damwon Kia. But it's, again, execution based on, and it feels like Damwon Kia in these games, both 1 and 3, are really grasping at straws for that engage, and without the Hecarim insane flank potential, they're going to have to rely on Khan for that. No, yeah, Rascal's ready.
That was, this is exactly the position that Canyon was in when he won them the game in the last one. Not going to be a similar story there, of course, the lumbering Cho'Gath, as Gen G looking for Cloud Soul Point, and Damwon Kia just going to let him have it. And I'm going to, throw out another apology because that could have been a team fight if it had been a good dragon, but unfortunately, not so much.
Yeah. Still, I mean, significant for Udyr if he gets the Cloud Soul because of movement speed. And, I mean, for the other ults they have in this game, but mostly just going to be the
damn, Jinx Rocket. So far ahead, dude.
He is. I mean, that's the thing. Like, he's up 80 CS right now, and he got an early lead in the game because he's Azir, and that's how that matchup works. You have an Udyr with it. Showmaker had to show respect in lane, but that started to add up over time. And then he ended up dying, of course, which made things even worse. And he scales so well that, like, Damwon Kia is not like, well, we have the Victor for scaling. Well, the Azir is not only scaling well, too, but scaling better and faster.
Yep.
So that's a huge problem. We talked about the Chomp growth here for Rascal being an issue in some of these team fights. Damwon Kia need the Miracle Sleep, or they need to be able to control these side lanes, which they are doing a pretty good job of right now, putting that extra pressure on.
The thing that I'm a little bit worried about, though, is that they're losing in every single lane, Damwon Kia. And this is not their MO, right? Normally, it's like they can sacrifice a lane. Like, often you see Khan being behind, but that's because they're funneling gold into Showmaker, or they're funneling gold into Ghost. This time around, it's Canyon that's been given this space, but he's used it to get a farm advantage over the Udyr instead of being able to help the rest of his team. It hasn't really worked out.
It's hard, too, because he gets that early lead, but because the rest of his team is losing lane and there's no priority and there's not really a great way for him to make powerful plays, especially, you know, when it's a Cho'Gath top. Like, he got that one pick. He tried for a second, you know, as we saw. But, like, you're unable to really do much in this game as a Lilia when you're trying to gank these lanes. You're actually so squishy and under threat yourself in some of these fights, too, if you try to commit into them. So she decided to go for the farm, which didn't lead to enough of an advantage. And with the vision control they have right now with this Udyr, they are just going to start Baron. Well,
yeah, they were looking for it, but the sweeper spots the sneaky ward, and that does give Damwon the information. Canyon in the area as Barrel, yeah, that body slam on cooldown, so of course Rascal going to go for the rupture. Not going to quite find it here as the bowling ball also going to go slightly wide. Ghost clearing out the minions as best he can, and Khan
might want to try to teleport flank here.
Yeah, he was looking for a train ride. But that ward there in the brush actually going to be very valuable for Gen G to reposition. So almost glad for Damwon Kia's sake that he didn't actually go for it. As here he goes this time around. The Lantern now on cooldown as he's drifting on forward. Rascal just stands in front of him. Decent knock up there, but the hook is going to come down. Khan gets a huge shield from his Gargoyle Stoneplay, but it's just not enough. The amount of shred that they have for this Scion is absolutely massive.
Busted. Oh my god. Atlas. This was desperation upon desperation.
Well, Barrel's going to go in, tries to throw down the cast, but the Emperor's Divide hits too. It's beautifully done. It's a double kill. No stealing for the Jinx this time around, as Ruler is going to get the value he was looking for. And Gen G, they have made almost their version of what Damwon Kia did to them in Game 2, and they're looking to push up this mid lane.
They are definitely going to get an inhibitor. I don't know if they're going to be able to get more at this point. Khan spawning in 15, but they'll be able to get an inhibitor here, or instead of pushing the issue here, they might just be able to finish that Baron. They have so much vision control still, they can clear this on their way back. But what was so beautifully played on both sides here for Gen G, they block the, you know, the Scion ult coming through with Rascal. He just steps in front of it, and then they also just send Clid to block the sleep potentially so they can continue to push forward. So both engage tools are eliminated instantly, and I'm going to see Canyon try to maybe steal this away, but he doesn't even have his sleep available.
He does have the flash, so he's going to flash on in, but Feast is one hell of an ability. So it's never going to work out as yet. Canyon is making it into his Zhonya's, but it's not going to be enough here as Khan also once again going to be taken down. A double kill for Ruler is beautifully done. He's going to take a Rift Scuttler, a Zombie Scion, and he's the happiest Jinx ever. I need to reiterate, like, he got it again, Wolf. He got it again. It was delivered to him on a silver platter, and look here in the replay what he can do with it.
Rascal just blocks this, and then Clid is like, no, you can't get a sleep off. He just can totally zone Canyon out here. Look at Canyon try to hit a Q, look at him try to hit a sleep. He cannot do it because he's zoned out. And then unfortunately, as soon as Khan is eliminated in this fight, I mean, you just can't, you have no front line anymore. Emperor's Divide is the easiest button he's ever pressed.
Yeah.
And, you know, they just traded back one kill, but that's all you're going to hope for. And Khan is just hoping to try to set something up here for Canyon, but the Feast is amazing. It's a second smite here. And Canyon just goes down to 0 health so quickly. Lantern is taken, like, oh boy. Well, I feel like now you just push mid and look for that inhibitor with a Baron buff. The turret's already gone. There's just no realistic way for Damwon Kia to be able to clear this out.
And there's the Cloud Soul as well. Yep. Now Rascal can eat someone and then run really fast to find his next meal.
960, I think the number was there.
He's got a large amount of health. He's also a very, very big boy.
Yes.
Is this Cho'Gath? Let's see whether Damwon Kia can get themselves a miracle. I'm starting to not believe it.
I mean, look at this. Wolf. Look at this mid push. Rascal, like, you cannot collapse onto him. And the range issue, look at the poke that this comp has, and Clid is just playing guard point here. You can't come in and collapse on anybody because he'll just stun and allow the retreat. BD has his ultimate up as well. The Cloud Soul is actually pretty good for this composition. And, okay, you're going to defend mid, but how can you defend this one? You're going to lose both inhibitors either way, but you're just really trying to time this Baron buff out. Damwon Kia, no options here.
Yep, Life's positioning also just so good. Always there to get someone out to safety with the Lantern. Still holding onto it. Clid runs so fast. He's so tanky.
You're going to have to do something here, Damwon Kia. You can't just walk away. You will lose this game right now.
Yeah. Siege minions set up. Not a lot of answer here. As you can see, it's that range question mark that we had for games 1, game 2. The team with the most range won the game. And Damwon needs to show us why it was ignored here in the draft in game number 3. That first Nexus turret is going to go down. The little boot comes out from Clear, who doesn't have a lot of mana, but the Kai'Sa is just destroyed. The knock-up onto Showmaker as well as the Gargoyle Stoneplate makes Rascal nigh unkillable. A double kill for the Jinx now as she's getting excited. A beautiful hook from Life here as well as Jinx grabs a triple. Could it be the Penta as the quadra kill? Already Canyon running for the hills and the Super Mega Death Rocket sails by.
Clid, he wants more here. He didn't get the Penta, but he's looking for the kill. Denied by the Nexus. And Atlas, this was a beautiful series from Gen G, and they are going to stop Damwon Kia's win